All right, you recording yet or what?
Yeah. All
Oh, you're not
right.
recording.
What?
You're recording now. You've been recording.
Yeah. Well, now I'm recording. Now I
Oh,
started. Now this is it. Welcome to a Big Bun Game Club with friends. Clearly I am here with my best buddy Charles. We've been playing Bloodstained, and it's been a crazy week. At least for me, my opinion has changed yet again from last week.
okay.
Uh, has your
Mine
opinion
kind
changed,
of
or?
a little bit, sort of. Um, but it's so funny because I feel like we haven't. I feel like it's been like 3 weeks since we did this, but we definitely did it last week.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I don't know. Maybe it was just a long week for me, but I don't know. I feel like so long. How far have you gotten?
I have. Or I actually wrote it down. Actually, I finally remembered to record. My weapon I've been using now is the Lohengrin. I am 77.3% through the castle. I'm 11 hours in, and I've killed 1,464 monsters.
Okay, I didn't write down my progress because I beat the game.
Oh,
Um, and I'm at like 98.5% done in the castle. Um, I just have to beat like the side bosses. I don't want to ruin anything for you because you're right at the point where it happens. So I guess it doesn't
uh,
really ruin anything, but like it's not that impressive that I'm at 90% of the castle, 98% of the castle, because you kind of have to do it anyway to get to the end of the game.
yeah. That's what I figured too, because I was going through the castle, and I was stuck. I didn't know where else to go. I just got the invert ability, so
Yep.
I got that. And I was like, okay, what else can I do? I've been going around, and I've also been watching the YouTube channel you linked me, Neural.
Oh, it's
Uh,
hilarious.
yeah, so I watched one of his Metroidvania videos, and he was talking about Bloodstained, and some of the clips he put in, I was like, oh, I totally forgot you could blow through walls sometimes. So I was
Yeah.
going through some of the stairs, whatever. So that helped me find some places that I was struggling with. But I just couldn't go anywhere else. I went everywhere, for all the bosses I was able to, and I was like, okay, well, I'll just Google where I could find the Warhorse key, for example. And I was like, okay, well, where can I find that? It's like, oh, it's in the glacial area. I was like, where the fuck is the glacial area? And I was like, look at the map that was there. I didn't understand where it was in relation to anything. And then it's like, oh, I have to go to the another secret lab, the Oriental secret lab. And I was like, oh, okay, so I have to find my way there. And this I didn't. There was again another like no hint at all to get the aerial armor or whatever. You have to like go to the Tower of Two Dragons and do the
Yes.
invert there. And I was like, oh, I totally did not think about that at all. And because it was like, it's such a tall tower, you would never think, oh, I should do invert there. Like,
You know what? Here, okay. I did think of it, and only because there was. If you look at the map, and I don't know if this happened to you too, it might have been a glitch for me. But there's this one little block on the map that I couldn't get to in that tower.
oh, it's like
So
a black square like on the map.
yeah, like right after you come out to fight that two-headed dragon, there
Yeah.
was like a little square, and I was like, I can't get there. So I immediately knew to well, I immediately thought to go to the end of it, invert, and go up there. But that didn't have the item I wanted.
Oh.
So I had to read a guide, and it was like, oh, you go to the other side. I'm like, you motherfucker. Like I was like, oh, cool, I figured it out myself. And then I didn't figure it out myself because I had to go to the other side, which made no sense because it's right at the beginning.
Oh, okay. Because I just didn't think much of it because there's so many areas where it's like, oh, this is a black area, and you just go there and there's absolutely nothing there. So I just thought it was just a dead space. That's like, oh, we just put that there for the map's sake. But
Yeah.
so I was like, whatever, move on from that. And then I did that. I got that. Then I finally found my way to the Oriental Lab. But through this whole thing, I started this is where my opinion kind of shifted, where I I liked the idea of just going through the castle, even though like I've been through the same areas. But I'm such a high level. I have such like devastating weapons. It's like, okay, I could either just fuck around. I can just invert the map, and I could just kind of walk on the ceiling just to get past and blow blow through things. But on the flip side, it just got. I mean, it does highlight a lot of the repetition through going through the same castle, the same areas, and some of the loading is kind of frustrating, especially if you die. That loading is just ridiculous. It kind of made me want to stop playing a lot of the time when I would just die to bullshit. It's like, all right, I don't want to sit through this loading. I'll just come back another time.
Does
But
the PS4 not have a solid state drive yet?
no, they added on the
Okay,
PS5.
no wonder. Because
So,
I like loading times for me are non-existent.
oh well. See, maybe there should. See, I wish there was a way for consoles to just have like a customizable like inside or whatever. Just take it apart and do stuff,
But
and they could just sell Sony shit. Like Sony could just make these parts and say, okay, buy them.
yeah, but
But
this is why, and maybe more people are gonna do this if stuff like that happens. Is like that's why I turned against consoles in the first place. Once I saw like Xbox 360 and PS3, it's like you have to install the game. I was like, go fuck yourself. I'll just buy a computer. Like, what are you talking about? So it's like
yeah,
that's why it's like the more they make things like that, the more people will be like, wait, this is just a computer.
I mean, to me, it's like it's more about like the simplicity of just like plugging in and playing whatever. That's
Is it
it's.
simple though, Theo?
Well, I
Is
don't.
it
It's simple enough for me in the sense that I don't have to go online shop for separate parts for it or
fair
whatever.
enough?
It's I
Fair
mean
enough.
I think it's all like preference at this point. I think technology's gone that far, but
But
as
it's like,
you know,
oh, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna go back to the bloodstained, but
Well, I was gonna say real quick, you could buy a computer that's top of the line right now, and it'll last you like 3 console generations.
oh yeah. Yeah, I was like
So, like,
dabbling with just at most I was just thinking of getting like a very like decent like laptop maybe.
yeah,
Because like at most I just want to like be able to like stream, record, whatever, and play like Persona 4 Golden and play Killer 7 through that instead of like hunting down a GameCube copy then getting the adapter. Like if I just get it on Steam, it'd be way simple.
dude,
Uh,
you could buy a pretty like decent mid-range computer for like $800.
all right.
Not a laptop, but like if you bought a tower, $800 you'll be able to play most games and like, well, I don't know about streaming so much. You'd have to look it up to what hardware you need for streaming because I know it's kind of demanding to stream and play a game at the same
Yeah.
time. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's even like tough for my Mac, but it's a Mac,
Yeah,
so like I mean you get what you get. Uh, but the other thing I was just thinking like when I was playing Bloodstained, thinking of like oh I do like going through the ceiling and just going through these areas. I just kind of wish like in Persona 3, as you're going through Tartarus and you're leveling up. A lot of the shadows that roam around at first, it's like okay, they're just gonna go straight for you. They're gonna try to ambush you, whatever. But if you're at a higher level than they are, they'll start running from you because they'll be bodied. And I just kind of wish that the enemies in Bloodstained had that kind of mechanic where if you're just a badass, they'll just like leave you alone. Because I
yeah,
think it would just make the traversing a little bit less frustrating when it's just it's to the point where everything just kind of hits you like it's like a mosquito bite, and it's just like
yeah.
okay. I mean, I whatever, but
Quick,
the Oriental Lab though is so fucking frustrating because there's a gauntlet of areas where just before this Zangetsu fight in that save room, you have to go through like 2 areas from the teleport, and they just throw so much of fucking monkeys and ninjas at you, and it's just like the ninjas I can kind of stomach, but the fucking monkeys can go to fucking hell. Fuck those damn
dude.
monkeys.
Because the monkeys are the worst, and I don't know if it's because of my brightness settings or something. But sometimes I'm just like, where did this monkey come from? And it
Yeah,
just like jumps from out of nowhere. I'm like, what the fuck?
it's, I don't even think it's because I have the same issues. Like the first area where the cat is and the ninjas are, those monkeys are semi visible, but you go to these like wooden areas or these like foresty areas, and the monkeys like blend in perfectly, and it's just annoying because they clip on every single like platform, so it's like you don't really know where they are, and they just keep jumping at
Yeah,
you, and they get to these areas where it outmaneuvers your hitbox, and it's like so they could just land right into your body, and you'll just take double damage because they not only do they hit you on the way in, they hit you just by standing there. It's like,
Yeah, it's like I remember that part because it was super aggravating when like that save room. I know exactly what you're talking about. And you come out and there's ninjas walking on the ceiling, throwing shurikens, and monkeys that come out of nowhere. And you're like, what the fuck am I even supposed to do?
yeah. I had like 5 healing items, and I was like, oh, this would be great for a boss fight or whatever. And I went through all of those because of the fucking gauntlet of enemies of bullshit. And
Yeah.
it's like, and the very first room I had no healing at all. I was able to get through that perfectly. And then I went to Zangetsu and I kept dying. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just go back to get healing and then come back. And that's when I blew through all of my fucking healing. I was like, fuck this. Like that was when I just wanted to throw the controller.
That's funny. What helped me through a lot of that stuff and basically through the rest of the end game was my new favorite shard, which is Welcome Company, where you're surrounded by the portraits. It's the most
Oh
powerful thing in
man.
the whole game.
I
They
should
hit for like 40 damage each head.
Oh, I
So it's
should get that then. Oh, I went to the carpenter's room too. Have you been to the carpenter? The
is he a
carpenter?
secret boss?
I think he is because I went there and all of a sudden it just immediately da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and it was like the
Yeah.
boss theme. I wanted to fight it.
Oh,
It
you
was
just left.
I went in and immediately I lost like 90% of my health and I don't know what hit me and then he killed me.
Oh,
He
you
just
lost. I
yeah.
was like, because he kicked my ass. Like I was like, there's no way I'm gonna beat. Like I probably could if I was like really patient, but like he got me. He hit me like 3 times and I was dead.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was a glitch or what, or I just didn't see the attack because he was just standing perfectly still, and then all of a sudden I was blinking red before I could even do anything. I was like, "What hit me?"
That's funny because I watched and I didn't remember that Neryl had that video and I did watch it after I beat the game and that part happens in his video. He's like, maybe that's supposed to happen, and it's the carpenter just walking into the wall.
Oh
Like, something
yeah.
hasn't fixed yet.
Oh,
It's
that's
funny
funny.
that you mentioned that you said that it would be interesting if the enemies ran away from you, because I started a new game with Zangetsu mode, and it's basically just murder everything mode. Dude, it's shocking how easy it is to play as Zangetsu. I put it on hard even,
Oh
and
wow.
I've been playing for 40 minutes as Zangetsu, and I've traveled through 25% of the castle.
That I feel like Zangetsu is kind of like, they did this in Resident Evil 0 when they put it on PS4 and Steam a few years ago. They added a Wesker mode to it. And
Yeah.
it's like the same game, but you're just Wesker, so you're just kind of it's
Easy
almost like
mode.
God mode because
Right.
you're just going around just fucking shit up, and it's a mode that you have to unlock through the game, but it's like, oh, so that just what it sounds like. It just sounds like it came out like way after when the game came out. It's like, oh fuck it, we'll just give you this game breaking mode just for dumb fun.
Yeah.
It kind of
And, and
feels.
and I will say, so this is where, because until this time, I still fucking like even at the last boss, I was like, this is it. Like, who cares? It was so, like I just don't think there's like a very fun challenge to the game. Um, it's just tedious in a lot of ways, and but playing as Zengetsu, it's a lot more fun just because he runs really fast. Like he, I don't know, his sword swipes are fun to use and all that. But I had fun using his blade as Miriam too. But like the problem with him is it's too fucking easy. Like if there was something in between Zangetsu and Miriam, I think it would be perfect. Because Miriam
Yeah.
is like slow moving and tedious. And I'm like, all right, let's fucking go. And Zangetsu is just everyone's gonna die, and there's no hope. It's like I'm going to like late parts of the game and just kicking everyone's ass. Like the first thing I did was get in the train and fight that speedster boss,
Oh
and
wow.
I'm fighting these things and they're way leveled higher than me, but I'm kicking so much ass that my level just skyrockets. So I'm just getting level ups after killing everything,
it
and then I'm just beat this boss. It's like just the easiest thing. So
I feel like the in between is because after like you talk about blasphemous. I'm not sure if you talked about in the video last week or we just talked about after that, but you mentioned it and I was like, okay, well I have this on my PS4 and I'll just play it. and that is a lot of fun. I've been loving Blasphemous way more because it's so satisfying. Like the combat in Bloodstained is like it's all right, but it gets the job done. But it's just like okay, like
It's just it's extra simple. It's just like okay, I
yeah.
win. Yeah.
And with like Blasphemous, like I fought like one of my first bosses. I can't remember the name of it, but it was like, oh, this is like a fun boss. Like the guitar starts riffing. It's like the one that's like on the throne statue thing.
I didn't
Uh,
get very far in the game yet. I just
yeah,
played it for a little bit and had fun with it, but I haven't. I want to like actually play it, but after I beat this one, which I did beat it, so
yeah. So now you're gonna get into it. It's like it's a very satisfying like pixel game, but Bloodstained just doesn't have a lot of that same like satisfying hit when you just use a sword. Like I had this one weapon before I got the Lohengrin, which was like an electric based sword, which I liked because that one at least kind of felt weighty to it. Like it kind of felt like I was actually like doing shit because it also had electric damage on top of it. But it's just this one I'm doing is way more damage and it has fire on top of it, so it's like this is like a no brainer. And now it's back to okay hitting like potatoes at this point.
yeah, it's way too simple, and not in like a good way. It's not like it's like you have so many options, and they're all boring.
Oh, and I think you also mentioned last week that something like fucked up happened and Miriam had like nothing to say. I think you were talking about was it when she was fighting her clone?
Yeah, it's like whatever.
Like there was a scene before that was like, oh, this is like interesting. Oh, this like story thing with Anna or whatever her name is, Dominique and Alfred, and it's like, all right, cool. And then after that, it's like, all right, here's like your clone, and it just straight up plays, and it's like, all right, you killed it. Move on. It's like,
And it's
oh
like she's not gonna ask anybody questions about this. Like there was a fucking clone of me, and I just had to kill myself.
yeah,
Excuse me, you don't care? So
like
weird.
unless like it's gonna be argued that in the beginning when it's like, oh, these two are like experiments, like test like guinea pigs for shards, that okay, maybe that's like alluding to them cloning them for like the perfect ideal test subjects, but it's so much reading in between the lines, and some of it's like it's just kind of conspiracy theories at this point.
I'll tell you, it probably is mentioned in those books because I know they say a lot of stuff about
Yeah,
all of them in there.
I used to
But
read them and then I
I
just kind
haven't
of gave up. I was like, I don't
I
care.
haven't been reading them. This story's too dumb for me to care. Um, and I'll tell you right now, spoiler, it doesn't pay off. Like
Oh.
there's no mention. She never mentions it. She kills her clone. Whatever.
Yeah, there was like no cutscene for it at all. She doesn't
Nothing.
even talk to, and the things like in the like the first or second episode of this, I said like, oh, it's really nice that you talk to the merchants and there is some story development there, and then that just kind of stops. Like there's no
Completely nothing.
more, and it's like it was so rewarding before going into them, talking to them, and getting something. Like I beat Alfred, and it's like, and I talked to his fucking apprentice, and he had nothing to say. It's like I beat your fucking mentor, and you're like, all right, what do you want to craft? It's like, okay,
Yeah.
like Alfred's still running around. What about that? Well, he's there.
Yeah. It's so dumb.
And then
Yeah.
like Dominique's like, oh, I'll help you out a lot. And then it's like, okay, what does that mean? Like, are you gonna have more
Yeah.
stuff at the shop? Are you gonna discount your fucking prices? No, nothing. It's just there for decoration.
I'm excited to see what you. I feel like you'll have the game beat next week. I'm
Yeah,
excited to see what you have to say because it only gets more disappointing, especially story wise. I don't know how anyone could have played this game and cared about the story and been happy at all.
I stopped caring about the story. Like, it's like there's no poetry or rhyme with the story development. Like usually I would expect a game to like drop some story to give you some progression. Like I said even last week with Hades, they kind of did that. Like every like you may not make it a lot, make it far enough in Tartarus, but uh it will still kind of sprinkle story throughout, so you feel like you're going somewhere. So you have like at least something that you know. This one, it's like, all right, you went to this new area. Is this the right way? Am I supposed to be going this way? Like,
Yeah, I think the whole theme we can take from this game is like it is what it is after the first hour,
yeah,
and it's like you don't really get anything more out of it.
I I think a lot of it is it's just it's a very like because my opinion shifted through it because I liked going through the ceilings sometimes, like just kind of going around that and just kind of finding ways to either outsmart the enemies, whatever. But I also started to appreciate some of the ideas that were there. And I think like if either this had either more money or more time, it could have been fleshed out more because I feel at some point in this game's development, it was just like, okay, we have to just kind of rein ourselves back and just kind of get this game out because it just
See,
kind of feels like that they had all these ideas that they just couldn't like go through because they had to get it out at some point.
I think kind of not. It's not the opposite. It's kind of a different. It's a different path to what you're saying. I think they made the core game, and then they're like, okay, we need to add all this shit, and they never refined the basics.
Well,
Like they're just like, we need to have this massive scale, so let's make sure we build all that out before thinking about making the game fun.
that's kind of like what I mean as well. Like they had all these things, like they because it could have panned out one or two ways. Like it just be completely bare bones and it just goes that way, or it's like they had all these ideas that they all put in, and as they were doing it, it's like, all right, well, we can't really finish these grander ideas, but we have to get the game out at some point, so we just have to kind of either leave it as is and just kind of go back down to get it out. Like to get it to a point where they could release it.
Yeah,
I think like
I think what they should have done is cut everything in half, like scaled everything back, made the game half the size, and made a better game.
yeah, because I
but
also was just thinking like some of the locations don't make sense. Like you go through the cathedral to get to the Oriental Lab, and that like I get there like, and the location just doesn't quite make sense. And I don't think they. I mean, I guess the idea is that like this castle is like a rotating castle or whatever, like Dracula's castle in Castlevania, where it kind of has all these shifting places. Like it can go wherever, but it doesn't really allude anywhere. There's no like central hub in that castle that alludes to that.
none of it makes sense. What even is the castle?
Yeah, like
Like,
they mentioned like, oh, it comes from hell and that's where all the demons are. But it's like, there's no development on the castle. Like it.
wait, so what's the last story thing you saw?
The very last thing was I went to Zangetsu and he was like, "I'm gonna test you," and that's pretty much it because I don't like there was something between like
Did you
Dom.
beat it?
I didn't beat him. He kept
Oh, you
kicking
got
my ass, so it's like I'll just come back tomorrow because I just got there today, and usually every single boss like when I first get there I just can't beat him, and then the next day I come in, it's like, all right, got him. It's like, and I do the same
okay.
shit.
Here's the question I have: why is Zangetsu there? And you'll be able to answer it better after. Well, maybe you won't be able to answer it better, but you can at least understand why I'm so puzzled by it
I
when you
kind
beat it.
I kind of
Why?
feel like he's there just for fan service. Like he's like, oh, he's in Curse of the Moon. Put him in
No, no,
here.
no, no, no. I'm saying, like, barring
Oh,
all the
okay.
shit in the story, why is he in that spot at that time? You'll see when you
Oh,
play the game. None of it doesn't make any fucking sense. And you'll
all right.
see when you get so the last 80 so you have explored pretty much all of the castle that's accessible at this point. Just to like this will spoil you or whatever, but the last 80% of the castle are all right together. And you kind of will just incidentally get to 100%.
Oh,
And all of the so like and this is another thing that's super unsatisfying is all those doors that you see where it's like there's an optional boss there. Like, well, there's a few of them. They just like give them to you like once you get to the next phase. Those keys are just in this place and you're like, "Oh, okay, this is where this key was." Like I couldn't have found it before. So it's just like
uh,
it's like, "Here you go, optional boss. Have fun."
because I read that about the Warhorse key, and it's like, oh, it's gonna be in the end game stuff, and I was like, oh, and when I read that, like, because I was like, even before I came around to Bloodstain to appreciate it a little bit more. I was kind of like feeling burnt out on it because it's like I kind of don't want to go through this castle anymore. I got bored going through all these rooms over and over with nothing. Like I would go to areas that I wouldn't be able to go before since I got the invert. I was like, okay, like this was just for a chest. Great. It just got to the point where it's like I don't feel there's any progress to be had anymore, and I just kind of got and I was just ready to go to just call it. But then I was reading that guide about the Warhorse key because it was like I'll just find where these keys are on Google. I don't give a fuck at this point. And then it's like, oh well, this is at the end game stuff. And I was like, all right, well at least I know where I'm supposed to be going, and I have a trail to go. And then I got that, and it was like, oh, 75%. Because I was at like 60% last week, in the middle of last week. And then once I found out where to go, it's like, oh, right now you're at 75. It's like, oh, okay. It just got really like silly with the percentages going up so quickly at this point.
Right.
And the Oriental Garden isn't even a fun level either. I don't like the portals that they have that you have to kind of figure out. Is like I don't these aren't really fun portal puzzles. Like Hellblade has something similar to that, but those were fun at least because it's like messing with what you're seeing. This one's like, oh, just
I guess you got to walk this way through it, or walk
yeah,
this way through it. Yeah,
and
yeah.
it just got like boring. And it's like, okay, whatever. The other like Hellblade, at least like you have to like look through the portal to see what it shows, and then if you go around the portal, it's like it's different. But if you go through that portal, it's like whatever happens that like it just does all this stuff visually. That's more like interesting. This one just it had all these ideas with it, and it's like this is just kind of a waste of time and just to pad it out a little bit because
Yeah.
I could kind of tell this Oriental Lab isn't that big of an area. At least
Yeah,
I don't think it is. I
see,
mean, maybe I'm
all I
wrong.
gotta say is you have seen everything that the castle has to offer. The last 20%, like you're so close to the end of the game. You're like an hour out of the end of the game, I think.
Yeah, I got because as I said, like when I
But
looked at the map that showed the glacial area, whatever, that one I after I saw that I was like, okay, this is like the end. Like
yeah,
I saw the full map, and I was like, all right, this like I'm right there,
yeah,
near
I don't
there,
want
I should say.
I don't want to give anything away
All right.
because I know you don't want to be spoiled or whatever. But I have lots of things I want to complain about in the end game.
And the other thing I was gonna say is, I like the music at the beginning, and this is gonna be like a two-part criticism. The game soundtrack kind of gets lamer and lamer as it went on. Like the Oriental Lab is just the worst background noise I've ever heard. It's like it has some cool ideas, but it just makes no sense. It's like it wants this Oriental theme, but then it's like, oh, we're gonna have like a rock guitar part, and it's like there's nothing there that works. And then the boss themes are the boss theme for Zangetsu is all right, but it doesn't make any sense why they changed it to that and not use the default. But the other thing is, so I got the soundtrack off Steam, and I don't know who the fuck did this soundtrack. They fucked up the editing because it's like you can listen to like a 5 or 2 minute song, and when it gets to the end, it ends abruptly. So like I'm listening to the soundtrack on my computer. I'm like, all right, and then it just ends, and I'm thinking, is the file fucked up? Like this doesn't sound? It sounds like a YouTube rip of the soundtrack. It doesn't even sound like the proper file. And I was like going through. I was like, no, this is the same. It plays the same in Steam, and it plays the same in my music app. And it's like, what happened here?
Like you would expect it to like fade out or something, right?
Yeah, like it just ends so abruptly that it just sounds like it's like the wrong file. Because it gave me like two files. It gave me like an MP3 and an FALAC, a FLAC,
Flag.
yeah. And the FLAC like doesn't work on Mac for obvious reasons because it's Mac, dude. But
No, you can download a FLAC interpreter. It's just an audio codec.
yeah, but I mean it comes with MP3. But I was thinking like the Steam probably plays both just as well, and Steam has the same like, huh?
Does Steam play FLAC files?
I think it should because I assumed it would because it when you buy soundtracks off Steam, you can only play it on Steam. So,
Well,
but
if you don't know, do you know what a FLAC file is?
no, I just know it's like lossless audio.
Yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know.
All right.
It's compressed, but it's basically you lose no information. So it's like the highest quality you can get from a compressed file.
All right.
Stands
I
for free lossless audio codec.
I do have a VLC player, so I guess I could put it through that to hear it
Yeah,
as
I'll put it
well.
there.
So I mean, I have ways to listen to Flax. It's just that the only reason why I don't use Flax is because I can't put them on anything else. So it's like, just focus on this. And I'm not much of an
Wait a second.
audiophile either, so it's like,
iPhones don't play FLAC files, those pieces of shit.
no, no. I don't know why. I don't know why Apple is so afraid of widening their files.
They're not afraid.
What's
They just don't
also
give a fuck.
what's also weird is that QuickTime, they improved the updated QuickTime versions ago, and it can have like dual audio or whatever. But if I have a file that has dual audio, it will refuse to open it. And it's like, it makes no sense. Like, it has the ability, but it's like no, I can't read this file. And it's like,
What does it say when you open it?
it just says it doesn't support this file. because it has all this other extra information, and QuickTime, it's probably something so specific for QuickTime to read. It's like it's probably looking for some specific code that's not, I don't know. It's like it's fucking Apple. Tim fucking Apple fucking everything up, I guess. There was a Apple keynote last year, and they were hyping up this dumb shit. Like, they were talking about, like, guys, we're gonna make our boxes of the phone small, guys. And I'm just like, because they were trying to hype up that they're doing this to save carbon emissions and all this stuff by not giving you a charger. Is this gonna come with a cable? But is this gonna be these smaller boxes? And I was sitting there like, you could just make the boxes thinner and give the charger all the same, because they make these boxes like this big originally anyway, full of nonsense. And it's like, oh, we gotta get rid of the charger for that. It's like, what?
I think the point of getting rid of the charger is just to have less chargers in the world, though.
Yeah, I guess
How many of those things do you have?
that's true. But they changed the charger to be USB-C, and it's like, none of their computers supports USB-C. Only
Wait,
their,
are you sure?
yeah, it has a lightning port for the phone itself, but the other end that goes into like the brick is USB-C. So it's like, if you have an existing brick, it doesn't work. If you need to have either like the newest at MacBook and probably the newest iMac as well. But it's like, it's not everyone has USB-C. That's an Apple that's Apple cut.
But wait a second. I thought these pieces of shit, because I know I fucking hate Apple, and I had one for work. I thought they started calling USB-C Lightning 3, right?
Oh, that
Lightning 3 USB-C.
I don't know, because like Lightning is like this. It's like this.
No, I know what a Lightning
Yeah,
cable
but
looks like.
I don't know if they call USB-C some crazy name, but it's the same port that.
I had a new MacBook in 2018 for work, and it had two. All it had was two USB-C ports. It was useless because one of them burnt out, and I was like, I have one port for everything now. What the fuck is wrong with you, motherfuckers? I was so angry.
Yeah, that whole setup that they did for the MacBook makes no fucking sense. And they were hyping up that, oh, we have a headphone jack in this one. It's like, okay, but you don't have the standard like and I remember like Steve Jobs was so happy when they had like the charger that's like that magnet fucking charger. He was like, look at that, you don't have to worry about the fucking port being busted. It's like, oh, cool. And then with this one, oh, it's the USB-C charger. It's like, so then the issue that we went away from is back. Like, there's a lot of these weird decisions. Like they made iTunes more separate now. Like, there's 3 separate apps for podcast, music, and video. But it's like, put them in one place. Like, it's
here's what I think is happening. Apple has built its entire empire off proprietary bullshit. So meaning you can only use our shit with our shit. And people fell for it for years because Steve Jobs was good at talking you into thinking that you need something that you don't. And his ass died, and now they're starting to lose steam because they cannot continue to justify the dumb proprietary shit.
Well, now
USB-C. That's why Lightning 3 is just a USB-C port, because everyone else uses USB-C ports, and they don't have a pimp like Steve Jobs to fucking trick everyone into thinking, "Oh no, baby, we don't want that USB. We want to fucking we need this magnified lightning cable, baby. This
Yeah.
fucking doesn't work anymore. They need to dick Steve Jobs. He's in hell."
No, no, it's like they are like, and I thought it was really funny. Like they moved to go back to Intel, like have Intel based products again. So, and that was like a huge thing for a lot of developers. They're like, oh great, we can like develop for Apple a little bit more. It's a little bit more open, whatever. And now they're like, oh, we're gonna make these new iMacs that have our own proprietary fucking processors now. And I was like, I remember I had like the iMac G3, and that like died over the summer. Like that didn't turn on anymore at all. And then we got the G5, and that one just stopped working completely. Like that one just became a paperweight. And it's like, so what's this? What's this gonna be? And they were hyping it up with our department that worked on the iPhone and the iPad is working on our desktop processors. Like, what the fuck does an iPad developer know what to do for a computer? So they're it's like they want to make their computers as strong as their tablets, and it's like that's not good.
Probably not good.
Well, yeah, no, it didn't give me the vote of confidence that they wanted to have. Like, oh,
I mean, I think there's a lot of like talk about merging mobile and like desktop architecture so they run the same shit, but it's not very intelligent. Like
yeah, I
it's a
think
different system.
yeah, I think where it is now, even with the iPad, is fine because like at least with like the iPad Pro, like it's gotten better being a art tablet. I've been using that. I've been using that like kind of like as a Cintiq instead. Like I've been using the iPad for that, and it does a decent job. It gets the job done. Uh, and the apps that they make for it is a lot is better, but it's not like, oh, like now you can actually download files on the iPad. You can open files as well. Like put in a flash drive now in the iPad. Like they have like
As opposed to what? What
you gotta get an
fine.
adapter, obviously. Okay, one you gotta get an adapter. That
Okay.
adapter also has to be plugged into a computer to power it, and then you plug in the flash drive, and then it can read it.
I'll kill. How does anyone accept this shit? I would kill someone. I'd be like, you should pay me for using this garbage. Fuck them. They make me so sick. Jesus Christ, man.
Well, anyways, back to Bloodstained.
I know. How do we even get on this?
Because I was talking about the soundtrack and how weird it sounds when I listen to
Oh,
it.
oh,
Because it
oh.
just ends so abruptly, and it's like, oh, what the fuck. The other thing is the beginning of the game, the very first boss you fight is kind of interesting to look at. It's like, oh, this is like a cool boss design. It's like it has like a face on its like stomach, a face on top, is doing all crazy shit. And the more
What boss
bosses,
is that?
the one on the boat when you just before Jebel's like, I'm gonna go to the castle Miriam later, and then he leaves, and then it's
Dude,
like
I just fought that like this morning, and I don't remember. What?
it's a stupid boss. It's very easy, but
It's the tentacle thing?
yeah, the tentacle thing. Like the design of it is all right, but the designs for these other bosses over time has gotten kind of like bland because I was expecting like uh at least some campy kind of monster designs. Like you have like the
Like a
fucking demon
Frankenstein?
cats. Huh?
Like a Frankenstein or something?
Yeah, like this like Castlevania does that too. Like it has all these like corny villains that you're fighting.
Yeah.
And I was kind of expecting that, but it just got more and more lame. Like the one where you get like the invert ability, it's like, oh, skeleton dude. It's like,
Dude, I
okay,
gotta
like,
say, I don't remember any of these fucking bosses. Like, they're so unremarkable.
yeah. The only one that I think people are gonna like, with the clone of Miriam getting no cutscene or lead up, it makes it even more jarring that that Scarlet succubus, whatever the fuck, boss fight, the one in the bathtub, has a whole cutscene, and it's just that is so clearly like, oh, she's hot. They're gonna
Yeah,
love it. They're gonna love it. It's the fucking
show a little titty.
yeah. They're gonna and it's like, oh, okay, like whatever.
Yeah, it's so stupid. And that thing, there's more like that's not even the biggest like weird plot hole. Just I love like I cannot wait to talk next week because it's gonna upset you more than it upsets me because like by the by the first day I played the game I was like this story is shit. I don't care. But I know you like video game stories. So when you
Yeah,
see what
like,
happens at the end,
huh?
you're gonna be like,
Oh.
what the fuck?
Well, I'm kind of already there, kind of, because
No, no, no. It's
I
gonna be so much
I'm
worse.
sure it's gonna be worse, but
It's
when
gonna
I
be so much worse.
because like that's kind of disappointing already because like all
You're
last
so close.
week when I was like lost, I just stopped caring about the story, like hard stop, like even with the whole dummy, like oh Alfred set a trap for us, that's why I was like I don't even care or remember what the fuck happened, like when did this happen, like we see Dominique in the beginning of the game and all I remember her from is oh,
Wait,
I'm here and I'm gonna sell you stuff. That's all I remembered.
just wait. Just because. Okay, you're like probably 10 minutes away from it.
Oh my god.
Okay? Like, right after you beat Zangetsu, you have to do some stuff. And then all the plot changes. And it makes no fucking sense.
Oh
And
man.
you're like, this entire story hinges on everyone being a complete moron. Just, I can't wait to hear what you say about it.
Oh man. Like, this sounds more interesting. Last year I kept hearing about. I heard like similar shit from Last of Us 2. Like everyone was like hyping this game up to be the dumbest fucking story. And when I played it, it wasn't nowhere near as dumb. Like it was a dumb story
But
compared to
not
the
any
first
dumber
one,
than the other
but
one, right?
yeah, like it's just like I liked what it tried to do. I mean I did a whole video on Last of Us 2, but it just I just felt like it was just overly negative towards it. But with this, it's like I you're the first person I've heard saying all this stuff, so it's more interesting now to see how bad it's gonna get because I'm already like clocking out. Like I'm already like not there. So here it gets worse. It's like oh my god, I can't imagine. I can't imagine
Yeah.
from where I'm
And
at.
like we were saying how unremarkable the bosses are. The final boss, I don't even remember what the final boss looked like.
Do you even fight the fucking thing? Like because when we were talking about like when I fought Jebel like early on, you're like, well, you didn't fight the thing that's like with him in the beginning. Do you
All
even
right,
do you
I
even fight
will
that
say
or is that
you do.
okay? All right.
And I will say the way you turn things around is pretty fucking cool. Like the thing that turns the whole plot because something happens. Like obviously you have to find that person,
Yeah.
whatever. The way they spin that is actually pretty cool. But
Okay.
then the result of that whole thing, you're like, excuse me, this makes no fucking sense. So just you'll see.
All right. All right. That's great to hear. this
I was
it,
just
it,
like, I literally was watching. I was listening to the dialogue, and I was like, how can anyone bother to care about this?
yeah, like
Who fucking who wrote this shit?
I
I just, and it's this the positive reaction to this game is really like if everyone was saying this was like a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 game, I completely am on board with that. I actually completely agree with that rating. But people are like, this is the best Metroidvania I've ever played. I'm like, do I hate Metroidvanias? I might. I'm starting to question
I
it. Because if this is one of the shining examples, this genre stinks.
I think what it is that in terms of Castlevania, they have eaten so much shit that
That they just like
finally that they
something.
yeah they get something that's like really good and it's like oh this is great like we talked about the Snyder cut last week and I
Okay.
feel it's the same fucking bullshit because they have all these DC fans ate shit
Yeah. Yeah.
and all these people crying for the Snyder universe to come back. I'm like watch Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman and tell me you want the Snyderverse back because those
Yeah.
movies fucking blow hard and they're like, we want we want this universe back. Zack Snyder earned it. It's like, no, like just because this movie is slightly better than the original cut doesn't mean it's a great movie. Like
doesn't mean we need to give this asshole billions of dollars to keep fucking making movies.
And I thought the same shit with Wonder Woman. Everyone was like, "Oh, Wonder Woman's a great movie. Oh, it's finally DC made a good movie." I put that movie on for like the first 10 minutes. I got bored and stopped watching and had no inkling to watch it again because it was just nothing but, "All right, Diana, you got to train to be the best. All right, I will train. But remember, the world out there is mean. But you have to be the best. All right." And it's just and I was like, I don't care." Like,
But really, most of those movies are like that, where you're like, I don't really even need to watch this.
yeah, but it takes itself so seriously, like to a point of like at least with like the Marvel movies, it's kind of like whatever, and this moves along. But this one's just like it's like they take these characters so fucking seriously, and it's like just
And it's fucking comic book characters.
yeah. And there's, you have like two brooding characters, Batman and Superman. It's like these are supposed to be like foils of each other. That's what makes them like great pairing. And it's like, am I a god? People look up to me because I'm Superman, but maybe I am like careful. And it's like I don't fucking give a shit. Like shut up. Like you're fucking Superman. You're just supposed to be a Boy Scout, and you're like crying about people like look up to you as a god. Like the one image from not Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, where it's like all these hands reaching out for Superman. It's like fuck you, fuck this. Like that scene is so like it's like sniffing your own farts and like, oh man, this is such a great scene. Oh, look at this. Superman is like a pariah. It's like I don't care. He's fucking Superman. I mean, he can fucking destroy the planet if you really wanted to. Like,
kill everyone. Who gives a shit?
It's such low hanging fruit to be like he's like a god. It's like no shit. Like if you give him horns, dude, he's like the demon. He's like a devil. It's like okay, like, and that's even like what I like about Persona. At least it takes these god entity things and kind of does these weird ass fucking designs with them. Like they have like this fucking Nyx, and Nyx is like this big entity of like god of death and shit. And it's like, oh well, this thing is just a fucking being that looks like a fucking eyeball on overhead. And it's like this is like so fucking weird. And it's like, oh, this is like kind of like fun to look at, whatever. And it's like this. I like these kind of designs that just kind of go off of what you expect. But this is like, oh, this is like this bland level shit. And Bloodstained just feels that way. It's like, oh, whatever.
I think those Justice League characters are just boring to begin with. Like, especially Superman. Like, Superman's invincible. Who gives a shit? Like, there's nothing complex about him. And that's why I really liked Young Justice, going back to that, is because all the younger generations of them have flaws. Like there's like imperfect versions of their mentors.
Yeah,
like, okay, this is interesting because they can just fucking get trounced.
But I feel like with Justice League, the series and the Superman animated series and all that, those had like vulnerable characters too. Like they didn't have like Superman be this like tank almost because they kind of gave him some restrictions. Like he did because he was able to flinch at shit, and they were kind of going off of the lore that magic is the only thing that can hurt Superman, like that and kryptonite. So they did a good job kind of doing that. And the other thing is the selection of enemies that they picked were like these oddball enemies. Like they had oh, what's that fucking it? Because I was listening to a commentary track of Superman. They were talking about this one villain that's like, yeah, DC did like never use this character since like the golden age of Superman, and we just wanted to use it just to see if he could tell a story with this stupid ass fucking character. And it's like, and they had like Gilbert Gottfried voice him, and it's like it's the dumbest. It's the dumbest episodes, but it's just it is so stupid, and like it's like kind of like goes full circle to be fun. It's like, oh, this is dumb, but like they did something with it. That's something.
But yeah, I agree that Justice League show is good. But it's not like there's not like an arc, right? It's like there's just a bunch of independent stories.
Well, I think with Unlimited, there's more of an arc. The first Justice League was more like a little bit independent. There was some stuff that carried over, but it was very seldom. But the Unlimited series kind of had a story running in the background because each part of it was kind of going about the Cadmus Project. The second season was a little bit more different, though.
It wasn't centered around Superman.
It wasn't, but it kind of told this whole thing like because it was kind of going about it kind of connected to the first Justice League series by saying like, well, they have like a fucking weapon in space that can destroy us at any time. So they've been kind of trying to find ways to have their own deterrence with it. So they had all these little things going on within the episode. Like they had this one episode, Darkheart, which was this nanotech monster. The government sees that and is like, we're gonna use this to see if we could do anything with this against the Justice League if need be. So there were some like little breadcrumbs of a thread.
Yeah.
I think Unlimited is a little bit better than the original Justice League series anyway, because that I said this before, like you kind of had these weird heroes that you wouldn't see, like Stargirl, Black Canary. At that point, when that was a new show, you didn't see a lot of Black Canary. Now they're actually throwing her in a little bit more with Birds of Prey and all that.
Here's my whole point was, I don't know what fucking writer is gonna make an interesting arc out of Superman. You just
It's a hard character to sell at this point because I feel like with Superman I feel like it's better to decide with going full campy, corny nonsense with him than like being serious. And you know, like with these anime series, they kind of did that with him. It's like, oh, this is like why it works. It's not like, well, he has this like mental complex and he's thinking really hard. Oh, he's hurting. It's like, fuck that.
It's really hard to believe that Superman has this moral dilemma of whether he should punch someone's head off their shoulder after he destroys all of Metropolis.
Yeah.
With a fight.
There was this that kind of made me think of this one episode where he's like fighting. He's like going like in Justice League Unlimited. There's an episode where like Lex Luthor was having this like free energy generator thing there that's powered by kryptonite, and Superman thinks it's a bomb or some shit. So he goes through this entire playground, destroys the whole area, the whole park. It's all destroyed, and it ends with like Lex being like, oh, well, I fucked up. I should have told Superman about this or whatever. It's some bullshit, like just playing with him at this point. And Superman's like, we will pay for the damages. And he looks over to Batman, and Batman's like, okay, yeah. And I'm like, all right. Stiffing the bill on Bruce Wayne, of course. And that's me kind of like, I laughed. I was like he just looks at Batman immediately. He's like, we will pay for this. And it's like, oh, okay, very, 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 very subtle.
Subtle, right? Just gives up his fucking secret identity.
Well, I mean, he didn't say a name. He just looked at him. It was just like, you're paying for this, buddy.
Right.
Even though it was Superman's mistake, he should have known it was a generator. Like everyone was telling him. Like fucking Shazam was there saying, "Hey, leave it alone." By the way, that was the last time he was actually called Captain Marvel. That character.
True, it was Young Justice.
Oh yeah. No, I thought they called him Shazam in Young Justice.
Not till season 3 and season 2
okay.
they were calling him. That was the last time.
All right.
I think.
Because I think they changed that for Injustice. Injustice was Shazam.
Which, I believe you don't like this show. Injustice. Dude, there's such a great scene in there when I forget what it is, but like for some reason they send Captain Marvel with like the Young Justice team, and they're like, Captain Marvel's fucking weird, and this is a point where no one knows he's a kid really. They don't know he's really bad. So
I don't know, because like
Captain Marvel's such a weirdo, and it's so funny. Like he's just acting like a kid the whole time, and then he goes home at night, and they reveal that he's Billy Batson at the end. He like goes to his uncle, and he's like,
"Oh, you know what?
How was your day, son?" That show fucking rules.
I thought he acted like an adult in Young Justice because because look, in one of the newer Justice League when they started doing the Justice League animated universe with that style, like it was like Justice League Dark, Justice League War, whatever. They had Captain Marvel there, or Shazam, I should say, I guess. But when he was there, he was acting. When he was an adult, he was an adult, and then when he was a kid, he acted like a kid. And I think I thought that Young Justice was in that universe as well, so that's why I was like thinking about that. But I guess it's two different. There's this movie universe. Like the first one was like, I think it was called like Justice League War, and then
those movies suck.
Yeah, they do suck. I hated those movies. And I thought Young Justice was in that same universe because the voice actors reprise their roles in the characters that they play. And it's the same art style, and I was like, oh, it should be all in the same universe. It's all the same.
Don't put that evil on Young Justice. Young Justice is better than that.
Well,
and there's a great scene when they're fighting Mongol in the fucking, or is it Mongol? Yeah, Mongol in the fucking Hall of Justice, and Billy jumps on the robot, and he goes Shazam, so he can zap the robot.
Yep,
zap Mongol. He jumps on Mongol's back as Captain Marvel, and he just Shazam, and it doesn't even hurt him at all. And he's like, "Oh shit, you don't remember that?" And he's a teenager.
I should probably rewatch Young Justice, the first 2 seasons.
I think you didn't give it a fair shot because that show was brilliant.
Well, I didn't hate the show, but it was just there was stuff in it that I was like, it's all right. Like I just left thinking that it was an all right show. Like I didn't think it was as good as people were like kind of leading me on.
But you said you didn't like the animation, which I think is the strongest part of the whole show.
In some cases, because some characters just look really bad in that style. Some look good. Some look really like they're all dimwits, and it's like, it's just there's these like angles that they just look so fucking stupid. Every angle, it's like why? But then you have like some characters that look fine. It's like, oh, okay, that's fine. It's just
you gotta tell me what you're talking about because I have no fucking clue.
I don't know what it is because like I understand it's a very like it's a weird criticism because I feel I'm the only one who notices it because every time I talk about it, it's like I just know it's like I'm probably the only person that gets like kind of like who sees it, but I don't think Young Justice is bad. I will say I think what didn't you like about season 3? Like what was bad about it? Like
the writing was just bad. It was way less subtle. It was like this is just on the nose.
Oh, okay.
And it was like a lot goofier. Like I like when shows because I feel like even like X-Men the animated series and like Batman the animated series when we were coming up, were like they didn't treat you like a dumbass. Like they're like this is a kid show, but like they're idiots.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about too because I do see how it feels like on the nose and a lot of stuff. It's
just like it's so obvious. It's like just okay, we get it, and it's like so much more like it's kind of like anime-ish in how it's like expositionally like explained. It's like I get it. Like you really don't need to explain this to me. And some of the villains were stupid. I really hate because there was some glimmers of wait, you didn't watch it all yet, did you?
I at this point I don't think I'll care enough to finish it because like I got to like I'm like 10 or 20 episodes left and it's I think what I also didn't like about the first 2 seasons, I thought the pacing was kind of like a slog a little bit, but I do think I do think that the first 2 seasons are at least endearing and at least more interesting. Anyway, with season 3, it's just wearing my patience down because I think it's way too long. I think it's longer than the first 2 seasons, if I remember correctly.
I don't know. I would have to rewatch it, but like, they fucked up Granny Goodness. They made her too. It's just all too on the nose.
Yeah.
And there was so much potential, but it's just too ham-fisted, I think.
Yeah, and I think like with the Bruce Timm series of shows, when they did like Apocalypse, and I think they tried to keep it more faithful to I can't remember who designed those. I think it was like Jack Kirby, I would like to say, but is it Frank Kirby? Like they tried to make it.
The comic guy.
Yeah, Jack. Okay, because I think
I don't know who you were specifically referring to as being designed by him, though.
Well, like Dark Side.
Yeah, I think that's him.
Yeah, like that whole like area that whole planet that he resides on. Like Jack Kirby like designed all these crazy fucking characters. So the show like kind of pays homage to that by keeping it kind of like almost a 1-to-1. Because I was rewatching it and I was kind of blown away. They had one character on Apocalypse that was in pretty much BDSM gear, and I was like, how did this get passed? But it's like But I think it's like instead of its skin, it's like it's like all black and just white outlines of like the BDSM outfit. But it's like I know exactly what they're drawing.
Wait, what character?
It's like a fucking like background character. It's not an important character. Like she has no like spoken lines. She's just like because there's an episode where it shows this war. Yeah, because it's a plot point where Apocalypse, since Darkseid is gone, they're like at a civil war with each other for power. So like it's just on the front lines you see these characters like just standing off, and one of the characters is that woman that's like in that gear. And I was like, oh okay, like that's she's just chilling like in the central field view.
Apocalypse is really just a sex cult.
Pretty much, it's his Gonzo fucking designs. That's just like
they're gonna get Shigeru Minamoto up there too. All right.
Well, that's like completely different. That's more like for Teen Titans Go. Oh, okay. You know what? You know what's funny? HBO, since it has like DC part of it now, they threw up this movie, and when they announced this movie, I was pissed off with it because it was Teen Titans versus Teen Titans Go. So it's like the original show of Teen Titans, that cast and all this. And they're saying like, oh, if this movie does very well, we'll revive the original show. And I was like sitting there, I was like, this is fucking stupid. Because the original fans are not gonna watch this to begin with, because they don't like Teen Titans Go. Why would they see this? It's a dumb like hostage negotiation that all these studios tend to do. To gauge interactions. It's like Capcom, like, oh, if you buy Darkstalkers Retribution or whatever, we'll make a new Darkstalkers game. It's like, just make a new Darkstalkers game. But
yeah, right, because then people will buy that.
Yeah, like no one's gonna buy our fucking re-release. Like, just give them something new. But so they do this, and I didn't watch it when it announced. I was like, fuck it, I don't give a shit. I watched it on HBO, and that movie is the worst fucking movie I have sat through, and I felt like I feel like a fucking idiot after. I was like, I can't believe they fucking had the fucking balls to say.
How long is it?
It's like it felt like a 2-hour movie, but it's probably like an hour and 30 or less than that. It's such a shitty fucking movie.
Because it's called Teen Titans versus Teen Titans Go.
Yeah, and it's like, it's so fucking dumb. I hated everything. There was only one scene I kind of liked, because the whole thing kind of hampers on Trigon coming back, and it's like, oh, the Teen Titans Go version of Trigon is uniting with the original show's Trigon to like revive him and shit, and that's like kind of funny. It's like, oh, okay, this is kind of whatever, but that's it, and everything else is just kind of dumb. And the show, like, even the show Teen Titans Go, the movie does the same issue where all the jokes are just making fun of how everyone hates Teen Titans Go. It's the same fucking joke. And the show initially in the first season, it was like, okay, the show is just whatever, but some of the jokes I kind of laughed at. Like, they made a joke about VCRs, and I was like, okay, this is kind of funny. Like, it's old tech, man. Can you imagine? Whatever. But after a while, when that show got all this backlash about it, the show started making constant jokes about how the show sucks, and it's like, yeah, you're not serious anymore, Teen Titans. You fucking suck. Yeah, we do suck. Yeah, we're stupid. It's like, okay, cool. Yeah. They're hilarious, and it's just over and over, and the movie is just that entire thing, and it's just the original show's cast is like, yeah, these kids fucking suck. They're small and stupid. They're not heroes. They fucking suck, and it's like, okay, and it's just an hour of that, and it's just a misery.
I haven't watched the show recently. I probably saw like the first. Actually, I feel like they come out with like there's like 12 seasons of it, right? Because like the seasons are short or something.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's like very popular on Cartoon Network too, because they play a lot of reruns.
Yeah, I'm in an extreme minority because I love Teen Titans, and I actually enjoy Teen Titans Go, at least from what I've seen. I thought it was pretty funny, actually.
There's stuff I love.
Fucking idiots are like, Teen Titans is coming back, and it's like, no, they made a fucking dumb, funny show. Whatever. Like, why can't this exist?
I think the show is fine overall. It's just like the first season was like at least like honest about it. Like, it was like, yeah, we're just doing a goofy show and it's funny. Yeah. And then when they started making the self-referential humor, it's like the first time I did it was like it was kind of funny because they hyped up Slade and had had no payoff. And I was like, okay, that's kind of funny. Like it kind of like misleads you into thinking this, and it's something really fucking stupid. But
Yeah.
it just became nothing but that, and it's like, okay, it was every episode I caught was like, yeah, no one takes you seriously. You fucking suck. Everyone hates you, and it's like, okay, like it's just this over and over, and
Right.
it just
But
wore
it's
my
like
patience.
if people keep watching it, they're just gonna keep making it.
Yeah, I mean it's
Like
fine. I'm glad it has an audience. I'm glad it's doing fine. It's just the humor needs to kind of move on. I did watch though I was on an airplane. I was watching on the flight. They had a Teen Titans Go movie, that they did, and I thought that movie was really good. It was an awesome movie because
really, I've been
yeah,
to watch it, so maybe I will now.
because it actually has like a story and has an arc. Like all like it tells a story. It has character development through it. It's like, wow, this is actually like really good. And I almost
Yeah.
wanted to give the show another chance, like the newer seasons, but it's like I don't care enough. But that movie
Yeah,
was
I'm
like
gonna check
actually
the new season
pretty
just in case.
funny.
I could see that the new seasons might fucking suck, so I'm not defending it, but
Yeah,
I'll defend the first couple seasons because I actually found it really funny. But like people need to just separate it. But it
yeah,
is really funny that this is the. You made a really good point because you said this bloodstain game is kind of like people just wanted something so bad that they're like,
yeah.
this is amazing.
And they'll just
And
take
like
it.
same thing with the Zack Snyder movie, right? But Teen Titans Go is the opposite direction because instead of doing exactly what people wanted, they did some other shit, and the backlash was just like people are like, "You fucking ruined Teen Titans." It's like, who? No, how? No, they didn't.
You know,
Teen Titans still exists.
it's it's
Like
it's funny
this is a
because
show.
yeah, because I like there's a lot of shows and movies and games that do this where it kind of plays with expectations and it is and I like anything that's polarizing. I at least appreciate it. Like Last of Us 2 is such a polarizing game, but I appreciate it just for that. Like that's one of the things I liked about it, that it didn't just give you necessarily the same shit. I mean, gameplay wise it did, but uh it did so much things that was just kind of like so extreme to the point where it's like it's either too try hard or whatever, and it's like that's at least something to say. Like there's something to think about or talk about. Like either you hate it or you love it. At least you're talking about it, and there's something to say. Than something that's like a wet fart or a fucking dry carrot. That's like, oh
And just the
yeah,
same exact game again because that's what people would be happy with.
yeah, like uh, I was hearing like with Resident Evil, like when they announced Resident Evil 7, they were talking about how the every three Resident Evil games is like a different genre, a different trilogy. Like Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6 were over the shoulder, a little bit action horror, kind of hybrid. And they were
Yeah,
going to do the same thing with this, with 7, 8, and 9. It's going to be like first
first
person, and
person.
it's going to be like kind of expanding in that genre. So so I do like that they try to like mix it up, and it's like, oh, let's try something else that might not even work, but uh
So what that means the next so Resident Evil 10 is gonna be a fucking
turn-based RPG.
tactical, tactical turn-based RPG.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that
everyone like was praising 7, and I it's kind of like with Bloodstain where people were just like so excited for something that's nostalgic that they just loved it. And I think that's what happened with 7, because 6 was just complete wasn't that great. Like I had fun co-op
did you watch
with
did you
people.
watch Daryl's
I
video?
did, and I agreed with a lot of his arguments with it.
So
Um
fucking funny.
it's a bad game, but I think the only thing I liked about it was just doing co-op. But the other issue with it is that if you do like Jake's campaign first or Chris's campaign first, it will ruin the other. Like if you do Chris's campaign first, Jake's will suck, and vice versa, because you're just doing the same shit, just slightly different. But
Yeah.
like the only thing is I kind of like Leon's campaign, but the beginning of this is complete ass. Ada's just sucks. I hated Ada's, so I agreed with him on that one. But the
Yeah.
but with 7, it's like everyone was like excited because it was survival horror. It had like supply boxes. It had all this stuff that you could explore. But what I hated about it was the beginning of the game had all this promise. Like I love the idea that you're going through this mansion and the one of the enemies, Jack, just goes through the house and hunts you down. And I liked that. That was actually a lot of fun. But then once you leave that, you go to like this bug house, and it's fucking annoying. You have all these bugs that can do major damage, and you can't really kill them because they'll just infinitely spawn through their nest, and the nest just takes so long to kill. You have this other like hunting enemy that just goes through that area to find you, which isn't fun at all. Like it's just that part sucked, and then you go to after that you go to like a Saw room. Like it was just, someone watched the movies of Saw and was like, we should do that, and it was just so boring, and I hated it. And the enemy variety just wasn't as good. It was just the virus was mold, and it's like okay, like the first enemy you see is kind of creepy, like and all that. But after you see that one enemy, it's like the same general like body type, but one is crawling on the ground, one is fat, and it's like okay, like I've seen this like several different times, and
I haven't played it yet. So to me, from what I saw in like trailers and shit, this game looks fucking horrifying. So I'm
it
too afraid. I was too afraid to even play it. So I'm like,
yeah, the atmosphere is good. I do like the atmosphere of it. It's just once you leave the beginning part, it kind of loses the atmosphere until like near the end. Then it kind of gets it again. But the final boss sucks. It's like Gears of War 2's final boss, where it's just point and shoot, and you're done. Like, have you played Gears of War 2?
No,
Oh,
I'm not interested in Gears of War to any capacity. So
because
you ruined all that for me.
okay, well, the final boss in Gears of War 2, it's this big like monster, and it's like, all right, here's a weapon, and one of the weapons that they give you is like you kind of point at an area, and there's this little red dot, and as you hold the trigger, it kind of shoots this big laser from the heavens down, and it does this major damage, which is like in game when they give you this weapon in gameplay, it's like it's only limited areas that they give it that it works, because otherwise like they say like, oh well, because it works with satellites, and it's like, oh well, the reception's bad, isn't gonna work, and it can also kill you as well. It's a not very trustworthy weapon. So they give you to you at the end of at the end of the game to fight the final boss, and you just point and shoot, and then you're done. And it's like this isn't even challenging. You're in a helicopter going around it, and it's just you don't feel at all threatened because you're just charging up and firing. And it's even more like silly when you're doing co-op because one person can do it, then it's like, all right, I have to recharge. The other guy can do it too. So it's like it's so stupid, and it's like, well, this. So like the final boss in this is that, and it's like, why?
Sometimes final bosses are just supposed to be like, fuck it, you fought through this whole fucking game. We're just gonna give you a layup just to like let you press the button to kill something. And then some are like, time to fucking show that you can do what the fuck you're supposed to do.
Yeah, and during when Resistance 2 came out for the PS3, there was something I was hearing about, and like some of the developers were talking about this as well. A lot of the cases, the final boss is the very last thing that they do in game development, so they just throw it. Yeah, they just put it in, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, well, I guess that kind of makes sense because you don't want because if you do the final boss at the beginning of the development, maybe this wouldn't be as developed, and you might lose sight of the whole game. But it's such a shame that it's just by circumstance some of these final bosses get treated like that. Some games like do a good job planning it out, but I mean some games it's just a shame that this happens.
That seems like a weird thing to me because if you think about like back in like high school when you read a paper, they're always like, make sure your beginning and your ending is strong. So
Yeah.
why don't they go by that principle, right? Like make the beginning of the game the best part and the ending the best part. So that everyone comes in, they're like, wow. It would be like us with Bloodstained. Like we come in like, oh my god, this game rules, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then you play through the shitty game, and then the ending is amazing, and then you're like, this is amazing.
I kind of feel like you should have, like in when you do like a story or a game or anything, have like the beginning, middle, and end figured out, and then you just kind of fan those out as far as you can, and sprinkle things out, because like that's, I mean, like, I mean, Indivisible had like a well thought out final boss, like at least because that kind of like when I first fought it, I didn't know what to do because because it kind of tricks you into thinking, oh, it's gonna be a turn-based combat like it has been for the rest of the game, but it's like no, you have to like keep blocking and just not use your turn at all because this character can just blow through you, so you have to wait until the boss is completely done and then you can do an attack. And it's kind of cool. It kind of plays with that expectation a little bit. It's a very like small scale version of like testing your skill as well, because there's a part before that where it's like at times your dodging skills and your perfect blocks and all this other stuff. And it's like, which is nice. It's like, okay, like because throughout the game, like I kind of stopped caring for perfect blocks and indivisible because it's like I can't really do them, and I could block normally. I have a healer or whatever. Then there's like grapples that sometimes grab you have to press the block button in time, whatever. But this one's like you don't have a party. You're by yourself and you have to figure all this stuff on your own. You have to do perfect blocks. If you don't perfectly block, it'll just chip you to death. Like it will just win just off of chip if you're not perfect blocking. And it's like that's at least things that it just drives you to kind of get good at it. So
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, now I'm trying to think of like games that had a truly like amazing last boss, and I honestly can't think of many.
yeah, I think Devil May Cry 5 had a really good final boss. Like that one
What
was
happened?
so you they summon Virgil again, like of course. And that whole fight is so fucking good because you first fight him as Dante and the whole time he's just kind of like making fun of you because the whole brotherly fucking rivalry that they have, and it's like, oh,
Right.
whatever. And he has new abilities. It's more like it's way more intense with like trying to block out like how to block, how to do royal guard. Like there are crazy videos of people just doing all these crazy fucking blocking and this aerial dodging that you can do, all this crazy shit to the point where you could even trigger Virgil to do like a taunt back at you. It is the weirdest shit like you could get the game to do if you just outshine the AI. The AI will just fucking adapt to that. And then after that, you have to fight him again as Nero, which is like, and in the story, it's revealed that Nero is his son. So like Virgil keeps every time he stabs you, is like time for your bedtime, and just fucking stabs you. He does all these fucking lame ass dad puns, and it's like, oh, all right, this is fucking goofy, but it does all this shit that just pushes you because Virgil can also like split himself into two, so you have to like either fight the clone or fight the real one. It's all this weird shit that goes on, and it just kind of pushes you to like either know how to block, how to parry, how to use the arm mechanic that Nero has in 5, all this stuff, and the music is so fucking good too. Everything about that fight is just a one-on-one fight, and it's this big like area that you're in, and it's just this daunting like task almost, and it's such a good job. Like just like you've been through all this bullshit before, you need to know what to do, and it's like you can either go with and there's no healing items in this game. So when you die, you either use a gold orb that you get very rarely, or you just blow through your currency to revive yourself, or start over the whole fight. So it is so like rewarding to kind of see how far you can go with that fight. So that's the only one I could think of. And then when they did the special edition where you play as Virgil, that's also they flip it to where you're fighting Dante instead of Virgil, and that one is also nice because the game knows all these like crazy combos with Dante, so he'll just do this. He'll even taunt you if you're just fucking up a lot, like if you're not hitting him, if he's just bodying you, he'll just taunt in the middle of a combo and then just continue wheeling on you if you're just not good enough. And it's like, oh, this is like at least it's kind of like having like this fun atmosphere with like kind of like this is challenging, but also like, hey, fuck you, you don't know how to play. It's like, oh, okay, like
Yeah.
it does a good job like kind of testing your skill at all this stuff. The Devil May Cry series have gotten so much more elaborate from like the first game. It is crazy to even like I went back to play the first one, and it was like fun, but it was so fucking antiquated compared to 3 and 5. Like
Even
one,
compared to two, Devil May Cry one.
well, anything compared to is better than I mean, one isn't bad. I liked one overall. The only thing I hated, I did not get to the part where everyone hates the plane boss in that game because you're in a
The what
plane.
boss?
In Devil May
Oh,
Cry 1, you have to fight the final boss in an airplane, and it's like this
yeah.
part sucks. But I got to this fight in with Nightmare where you're just going through all this gauntlet of boss fights, and it just I hate that part because you have to go through the Nero Angelo fucking boss fights again, and it's not fun, and it's like I don't know if I'll ever go back to it. I streamed it once, and then it's like I don't know if I'll beat this game. I just dipped out. Uh, but Bayonetta had the same issue too because I don't. Bayonetta 1 had a good final boss. I like that one, but
I
2,
don't really remember what it was. What was it?
you're fighting like a. It's such a weird fucking boss. You fight this fucking giant statue god thing that they hyped up throughout the whole game. The game kept talking about this thing called like Jubiliath or whatever. It's like, oh,
Yes.
you think you could fucking beat Jubiliath? He's gonna come back. He's gonna fuck you up. And it's like, who's a Jubiliath bitch? What the fuck? Like, you're going up and you don't know anything about this thing, and it keeps telling you every enemy is like in fear of it, and it's like, dude, Jubiliath is gonna come back and it's gonna fucking ruin your day. Watch yourself. It's
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? And it's just this big gigantic fucking statue thing that you fight after during the credits. Like you beat this one boss that's like this little like this nobody, and you're like, oh, I beat the game, cool. The
Did
credits,
that matter?
it did kinda because what kind of sucks, like 2 gets into it story wise because it kind of does a time reset bullshit. It has this time fucking thing going on with it. But it did matter because it was story progress. Like if you died, you wouldn't get the true ending. You would just die and have to restart.
Dude, I don't remember. I'm gonna have to replay this game because I don't remember any of that. I remember being able to like fight the credits, but I didn't think it mattered. I thought it was just whatever.
No, it did because it was
Okay, the
a
end of the
full on
game.
fight.
The end of the game. Okay, did I get a bad ending? Because I remember the end of the game. Her little sidekick dude is like at her coffin and is like, can't believe she didn't make it. And then she's like, she just comes out of the coffin, and that's basically the end of the game. Is that what happens in the end?
I think so.
So you can't believe
Yeah.
Bayonetta is dead,
I mean, I
and then
think
she's like, I'm not dead.
either way you
You're
get
dead.
there. Yeah. I think either
Okay, so
way
that happens
that
right
the
away.
ending. Yeah. So I mean, I think the boss fight's doable. It's not like a hard boss fight, but it's a fun one because it's this gigantic fucking being. I think, but I do think if you die, it just kind of ends. You don't get that last part. So I mean, if you've seen it, you probably beaten it. So it mattered
I
and it
don't
didn't
remember.
matter.
I don't remember the credits part mattering. I thought you could just like destroy the credits. I thought that was all that happened.
No, because I think I feel like I mean anyone could beat it. I don't think it was a because the fight wasn't that hard either.
Mm.
Like it was just. So I mean, I think it's probably like if you're just really bad at the game, you'll just not get the true ending. Like
Yeah.
if you just suck, but because that's
You know what?
huh
You know what a good boss, a good final boss fight was? Is
what?
fucking Metal Gear Rising.
Oh, dude, I love that fight. I
That
fought it
actually,
all the way on like very hard. I tried Revengeance and I can't remember if I got far in Revengeance mode because I think I kept getting my ass handed to me. So I was like, I'm done. I can't. This is too hard for me. But because I remember like
specific,
very hard was like really fucking hard
specifically
too.
the ending or the whole game.
Uh, with Revengeance mode, I think the beginning was really hard because that one it locks you into a just you're on like a flat stat, like you're not all your upgrades, all your stuff doesn't carry over in the beginning. So like that part was just insanely hard because I had nothing that I had. Like I didn't have because I low-key kind of cheesed the game because I had the Gray Fox blade in that
Mm.
game, and that sword fucking destroys. Like that, it's like it kind of gives you that Zendatsu mode so quickly. Like it's just a god tier sword.
Is it just called High Frequency Blade?
No, that's the plain sword that they give you that you
Oh,
start out
okay.
with. The Great Fox sword is a sword you buy in the shop. It's like you have to grind for that sword a lot because it's like the max money.
Okay, I
Uh,
definitely don't have it then.
yeah,
I
it's
definitely.
like high tier fucking shit. And when I got it, I could definitely see why they locked it up that high because it's almost like one hit kill almost. It's that good of a weapon. So I was using that for very hard, and even that was like the enemies were just they changed the enemy placement completely, and that's kind of where it like hard is hard, but it's like okay, whatever. But when you do very hard, it's like okay, now you see like what that gave me a taste of what revenge mode was gonna be. So when I tried that, it was like oh this I can't do it. Like it's because it's insane damage. Like I would get into this combo string with the gecko in the beginning of the game, and it would just kill me immediately. And it's like, oh, okay, I can't get past this no matter how hard I tried. And it kept doing I had to go sit through the cutscene at the beginning of the game again over and over. And it's like, no. Like, sure, I could skip it, but it's just, nah. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
But I love that final boss. The fucking soundtrack is so fucking good.
And now I'm like really thinking about it now, and I'm like, how do you even kill him? Because doesn't he have like skin that hardens when you slice him?
Oh, what happens? What happens is that when you're like cutting him, like there are moments where he's vulnerable because he doesn't harden instantaneously. Like there's like a split millisecond of a delay. So as like Ryan's like slicing through him and you're doing that crazy mashing, there's a part where it's like he just cuts through the heart and he just puts his hand and just grabs his heart out and
Yep.
and then he just breaks his heart that had all those nanomachines, so he can't do that shit anymore.
Raiden is a fucking lunatic.
It was so fucking cool, and I, you know, it's like a monkey paw at this point to be like, oh, I wish there's a sequel because I don't trust Konami to go to Platinum Games for the sequel. I feel if Konami's gonna be like, we're gonna do a sequel, it's gonna be in house and it's gonna suck ass. Because I don't think they know how to fucking do a hack and slash.
I don't think it needs a sequel anyway.
It doesn't, but the ending was so like weird. And I was like, I would love to know. Like,
Well,
I don't care that the story's dumb. I just want more at this point.
the
But
ending basically implied that Raiden is just gonna be fucking mutilating people all across the fucking world for the rest of time. Like that was basically it. He's like,
yeah, you know what's
I'm
kind
gonna
of
kill everyone.
what's kind of a bummer is Japan got this DLC that had this wooden sword that was voiced by the Japanese voice actor of Snake. So every time you would, yeah, so every time you would use it, it would talk to you and it would make fun of you the whole time. And I was like, oh, that would be such a cool weapon to have, and they never did it for the West at all or anywhere else.
That's too bad because that's the fucking funniest shit I ever heard.
Yeah, like I would have loved it.
Hater just shit talking you every time you slice somebody.
Yeah, it was like, oh man. But I love the art design, and I do like the like everyone was kind of like whatever because the initial idea was that it was gonna go between 2 and 4, but the whole design of Rising made no sense. It's like the suit he's in is like the best suit. Like he didn't need dialysis at all. Like, but when he got the new suit, it's like, oh, he needs dialysis. It's like, why would he ever want to leave that suit? Like, it just didn't make any sense. And it kind of explains why they're like, hey, we're gonna like make this a sequel because it's dumb to do it this way. It restricts everything for no reason. Like, okay, and
Right.
I think if they were to do between 2 and 4, it should just be normal Raiden, and then the ending like he gets fucked up, and then he gets into Cyborg Ninja suit because that makes a little more sense. Because they give it a reason why he's in that suit. Also, like it is two birds, one stone.
Yeah. Again, I couldn't give a fuck about the story, so it makes no difference to me.
Yeah, I I think like a lot of these cases with Metal Gear, like that's why like Metal Gear Solid 5, like like it's such a polarizing game, but I enjoyed it. The story was dumb and silly, but I liked it. Like the idea that Venom Snake was just a body double for Big Boss, I was like, I don't care. That's fucking whatever.
Right. So I haven't beaten that game yet.
Oh
Is
shit.
that what is happening at the beginning? I don't give a shit. Again, I do not care about these stories. At the
Yeah.
beginning,
Yeah, that's what
the guy in the bandages is supposed to be Snake, or Big Boss.
Yeah, the one that's like the full face thing. The guy like
Yeah,
call me Ishmael, or yeah, because I think they called you Ahab. Yeah, yeah, that's supposed to be Snake.
so he's Big Boss.
Yeah, they're in the same like hospital ward. Like you get these truth tapes when you get the true ending, and there's all these like they have Zero come into the office and it's like, oh hello Big Boss, it's a shame I have to see you like this. You know, I'm not like who I used to be because so they also explain why Zero is like a fucking vegetable in 4. Like why he's just in a wheelchair and fucked up is because the villain of 5 poisons him. Like, and it's kind of a silly way he does it too because so the villain Skullface mails like a pin from like one of Zero's like veteran like friends or whatever. He's like, yeah, look at this pin. He gets pricked by the pin and Skullface is like, yeah, so now that you got pricked, now you have a poison and a toxin in your body that's gonna fuck you up in time, so don't worry, you'll be a fucking vegetable. So fuck you, Zero. It's like, okay, like, because the whole point was just the whole story of like why Skullface, like the whole point is that Skullface wants to wipe out the English language, from, yeah, because his
Is he like Russian or something?
because what?
Is he Russian or something?
I don't remember. It's like probably, but the whole thing was that like he was upset like the people who bombed his village was English or American or whatever the fuck. So he's like, and he was going off by how like the English language is like a parasite because everywhere they have to teach it. Every country has to learn English. Everyone has to learn English and all this stuff. And it's like it's awful. Fuck that. Why do we have to learn English? So I'm gonna wipe it out, and they're gonna see how much they like it if that their language sucks. It's like, okay, like this is
So fucking stupid.
it's so over the top. Like I get the meaning that was kind of there. The one thing though is that it does kind of it's borderline like I don't even know if Kojima knew what he wrote because there's a throwaway line almost where it's like, yeah, these because the whole thing is vocal parasites. And they're like, yeah, these vocal parasite things were researched by the patriots or the philosophers or whatever. Like this was like a research that they abandoned, and they just were like, fuck it, this is stupid. We're not gonna do this. And I was like, okay. And I was thinking, well, in 2 and 4, they talk about how the nanomachines kind of censored people's speech, and it's like, oh, so like, are the parasites like the rough draft version of that? And it's like they I don't remember. I don't even know if Kojima knew what he wrote when he talked about the vocal parasites. I was like, it's there. The thread is there, but they never really like fully connect it. It's like it's
Well,
almost there, but it's like it doesn't go fully
he
in.
might have also ran out of time.
It's just another instance where we'll just never know what happened behind the scenes because this is. I don't think anyone will know what happens with anything when it comes to this because no one's gonna just air their dirty laundry all the time. I mean,
Someone's gonna spill the beans, but it's gonna be 30 years from now. So
yeah, but then people are gonna say,
we'll talk in our 60s and we'll figure it out.
yeah, but then people are gonna say this person's probably lying, and then it's like that, and then it's gonna end there because
I mean, it took about 22 years to find out that Michael Jackson was actually involved in the soundtrack for Sonic 3. So to finally confirm it. So
well, that's like a trivia question though, like that wasn't like hard.
was a major thing, man.
Yeah, but like, was there any drama? Like, did like Michael Jackson like kill someone? And they're like, get oh, fuck. I just realized the second I said that I was like, oh wait,
Yeah.
damn it.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Bloodstain. To take it all back.
We'll never know what happens with Bloodstained. I mean, something happened.
I hope the second one is really good.
Yeah, because I feel like Curse of the Moon got better in the second game. Because I liked that one a little bit more than the first one. I got a little bit further, but not since I played 2, but
I'm gonna check those out when they go on Steam sale. Here's the best thing about having a PC over a fucking console. You wait a year, and then eventually the games are like $1. So I have like
yeah.
thousands of games I'm never gonna play because I bought them for $5 or whatever.
Yeah, like there I mean, there are good sales, but it's just yeah. I mean, it's just nowhere. It doesn't compete with Steam,
Dude,
obviously.
like sometimes they just give away games for free that
Yeah,
are like big games. So
like I mean, I got the this so like Skullgirls out of nowhere got like a season pass for the game for this year, and they're like, oh, we'll do a beta for these DLC characters when they come out, whatever. So like the game, so the character they released is not officially out at all. Like it's not on Sony consoles yet or whatever. It's only on Steam, and it's because like Steam allows them to just do updates whenever they want. Like it's more open for that. While with like Sony, like they have to go through this verification process. They have to get approved. They have to do all this stuff, and it was a huge hassle when they were doing like physical releases for Skullgirls. They're like, well, we can't print the Blu-rays because Sony wants us to have like this patch ready and out, and then we can print the disc. And it was just, and so it just kept getting delayed because they kept having to patch the game. And so it was like, well, if you're just gonna keep patching, we're not, print the disc and then, whatever. It's just it's all this bullshit they have to go through with all these consoles. Like the same thing with Xbox and Nintendo. They have to go through all this verification
right.
with it. While Steam, it's like, hey, just upload the code or whatever.
Yeah,
There, done.
exactly.
Like and like I like the idea like with the beta version of Skullgirls, like for a fighting game, it's great because because they've been updating that beta over time because the whole beta is so different from the base game. Like they changed all these characters' moves almost. Like they added a super for one character, changed how another move works. All these properties changed, and it almost feels like a new game. And it's like, oh, okay, this is like really like different. Like now when I go to the PS4 version, it's like it's a completely like different game. It's like going from like Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition to vanilla, and it's like completely different. Like they rebalanced the whole game from
Right.
top to bottom.
Yeah. Yeah, which is it's just a weird thing because if you think about like like the arcade days, they used to have to like push out chips and be like, "Hey, can you like put this chip on there to like mod the game to be more balanced?" And now it's just like, we're just gonna push out a new version. Fuck it.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Some places like the barcade you took me to a few years ago, they had that Street Fighter cabinet, and the cabinet was wrong. It had all those combos for Alpha 3, and it had Street Fighter 2. And it's like, oh,
Was it a multicade or was it just
it,
that
it
one game?
it was just that one game. Like it was just only Street Fighter 2 because it would just default to that, and it's like, oh, like that's cool. Like
Everything
I
wrong.
wanted to play as like Karen or whatever, but I guess I have to settle with Ken, who I is like a boring character. Street Fighter 2 is such a boring fucking. I hate Street Fighter 2. Like I got
You
the third,
hate Player
like
Two?
because like well, what it is in my opinion is that I think I start because Street Fighter 4 is my first fighting game, so I had all these characters to my disposal. So all my mains, all the characters I really liked, were never conceived in two. Like
Mhm.
Cody wasn't in Street Fighter 2; he was in Final Fight. He was never in Street Fighter until like Alpha 3.
What
Uh
was your first gaming console?
oh, the N64.
Oh, no wonder. Like you don't have any of this history. Because I had a Genesis way back.
But you know what's funny? I keep hearing like I had an N64, only played Mario, whatever. Like 5, 10 years ago or whatever, I like found out Resident Evil 2 was on the N64, and that blew my mind. I was like, I never like ever even remembered Resident Evil 2 on the N64. Like no one ever talked about it. I kept hearing about it on the PS1 and all this stuff. It's like, oh right, so it's a PlayStation exclusive. Well, no, it's on the GameCube. It's like, oh, it's like not the GameCube, N64.
I was
They
gonna
did
say.
do one on the GameCube as well. They re-released it on that, but they had one for the N64. It was completely butchered though, I think.
Did they remake? I know they did the remake of Resident Evil 1 for GameCube.
Yeah.
Did they do a remake of Resident Evil, or was it just a
It was
re-release?
they just re-released it directly. It was just the PS1 game on a GameCube disc.
Oh, okay.
Because they did that with
That would have been.
3 as well on the
I was
GameCube.
gonna say that would have been a huge deal if they fucking remade Resident Evil 2 and I didn't know about it. I'd be like, what?
Yeah, they only did that one
But
on the
yeah,
PS on like the recent remake. Which
the Resident Evil 2 for N64 is really ambitious and like shockingly that they were able to put all that on that cartridge. And it has some interesting things where it planted the seeds for the story of Resident Evil Zero. There's like
Yeah.
hidden documents that like talk about Billy in Resident Evil 2, but only the N64 version.
That's weird because Zero is only on the GameCube though.
Yeah.
Well,
But they had been planning it.
yeah. Oh yeah, that's true.
I think they would, and it might actually be that Resident Evil Zero was supposed to come out for N64. Don't quote me on that, but that might be true.
Yeah, I mean that'd be like trivia to look up. It's interesting to see like games that change platform in development. Like they develop it for this one platform, and it's like, okay, well we're gonna just shift it to this platform now. Like that kind of stuff is so it is also a little bit interesting with that to see like how far like what happens, because like some games that benefit, some games that it hurts it.
Which is interesting because there's been a lot. I sent you a text about this the other day. There's been a lot of leaks lately of beta ROMs. And one thing that got leaked recently was, you know, the game Star Fox Adventures?
Yeah.
It used to be a game called Dinosaur Planet.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
supposed to be on N64. And someone recently leaked the N64 beta of Dinosaur Planet.
I heard about that. I heard about it too.
So you can play that right now.
But honestly, I thought they showed like images of it like way back in development, and it looked so fucking ugly and stupid. I was like, no, I don't like dinosaur era shit. Like, I don't care. Like, it's fucking dino bullshit. It's like the same thing with like the medieval shit. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, I was also gonna say this as well with video games. Like, I think it's interesting to measure games when we replay them, because okay, so like I beat Persona 5 Royal like last December, and it was a great game. I enjoyed it, whatever. And out of the blue, like last week, I was like because I just beat the Dynasty Warriors Persona game that they released.
Yeah.
I beat that, and I was like, that was like a cool story. That was fun, whatever. But I was like, oh man, now I want to go back to Persona 5 again. I was like, oh man, but I just beat it like a few months ago, and I was like, well, fuck it, I'll just be, I was like, it was everywhere I was going. I would go on Twitter. I kept seeing all of this fan art of Persona 5. I was like, damn it. And I just put it in, I played it, and I got like re-immersed in that game again. I was like, oh, this is actually like, I'm actually enjoying it more, or just the same as I did last year when I started it. And it's like, oh, and I think what's interesting is that there are some games where I restart it immediately and I regret it, because it's like, oh, like MGS5, I enjoyed playing that game a lot. But then I replayed it a few times and it was fun, but I try replaying it now and it's like, I don't care. Like, I beat it. I lost interest. And this one I've not lost interest, and it's like, oh, this is like interesting. I'm curious to see how the intro is gonna be, because when I played the vanilla Persona 5 and I did New Game Plus on that, the beginning just felt like torture. It just felt so long to get going. And then when I played Royal, it felt like it was going faster. So I think, so it'd be interesting to see if I'll feel the same way with this. Because I think they sped it up. Because I think there's instances where you go inside the dungeon and then they kick you out because it's like, oh, you're not ready yet or whatever. Like, they do the tutorial bullshit of that. But I think with this one, they do it less. It's like, no, you can actually do dungeon crawling now. We'll let you do this now, and then we'll just teach you some bullshit along the way, but you'll be able to do whatever you want. But I don't remember perfectly, because I remember like with Persona 4, it was painful in the beginning. It was just like bullshit of like waiting for like whenever they wanted to go inside the TV again. It's like, I don't give a shit, and that's what I'm dreading, because this is what I hate about Persona 4. Like 5 kind of streamlined this. 3 didn't do it at all. 4, it's like, oh, to do this next dungeon, you have to do like an investigation on the person you're gonna do. It's like, I don't give a fuck about this. Like, I have to, like, this.
Oh yeah, that's stunk. Fucking having to go like.
I wasted so many fucking days for this fucking dungeon, because it's like, because it was like summertime or whatever. So like you can't go back to the house to talk to Dojima to talk about Mitsuo. So it's like, All right, I don't know where he is. So I wasted
Well,
like
yeah,
2 days.
I think you might be fucked
Yeah, like
because I think depending on how these save states work, where if you get a game over,
it goes to the
you're not
last
gonna have
save.
time to like, but like you're not gonna have time to get strong enough to live.
I'm currently like level 44, I think. I could theoretically grind right now. Uh and then just go on the last day and beat the boss. And that'll be enough, but it's just it is just it's just bullshit because the beginning just it ate so much times they didn't know where to go and there's no indication like with Bloodstained the cryptic shit it's like at least there's no timeline and it's like I won't be it won't soft lock me at all, but with this
Right.
it's like well you're just gonna lose days in the dungeon and it's like fuck and the dungeon
So
sucked. I hated that dungeon.
I actually found it kind of interesting, more so than the others. The video game
Uh,
one.
I the music grew on me. I like the music a little bit more than I did when I first heard it, but it's just there's a part where it resets your position if you go across like a crossroads or whatever. Like it makes a
Yeah,
loud thump and
that's the part I thought was interesting.
it threw me off so bad and it was just like and it was frustrating me. It's like because I don't know if it's the way that the PS3 emulates PS1 games or what, but I feel there's like a delay with my inputs. Like there's like a half a second delay, or it's just
No, I think it's supposed to be like that.
yeah. But I think it's also it's the
I
fucking
can get why you
longsword.
think it was stupid, but it was at least something different in these because the dungeons, because they're procedurally generated, they're like not interesting inherently. Because like
Yeah.
here's some patterns that are gonna happen. So I was like, I would think I was just happy to see something different.
You might not like Persona 3 then because 3 is there's
Oh,
nothing it's just procedurally generated areas as you go up. The only and it kind of punishes you if you just take your time because if you linger on a floor long enough, the Reaper will appear and will just chase you through the area. The Reaper is it's a villain like I think in Golden they changed how it works and in 4 they in 4 it's dumb how they changed it because 3 it's like if you just fuck around it'll just show up or if you get a curse card in shuffle time he'll show up like he'll just be there and the Reaper is this high level enemy that will just wreck your party. It has no weakness. It can just fucking ruin you uh,
hmm.
if it wants to. It's and I think it does give you some benefits if you beat him. I think it either gives you a lot of a lot of XP, or it gives you like an accessory or whatever. But you might not like 3 because it's just literally you're just going up and up and up and up and up this procedurally generated area.
Yeah,
Uh,
sounds like something I don't want to play in the first place. Especially, first of all, I don't like the one that's the golden child of the whole fucking series. Second of all, I can't control the party members, so there's just gonna be a bunch of
well,
assholes
you
over
like
me.
well
Third of
4 is the golden
third of
child
all,
of the series.
I don't think it's available anywhere. Like I have to like buy a PSP or something. I'm not fucking doing it, so I'm never gonna play this game.
Yeah, the PSP one is the only one that's like modern. It's more modern than the one on the PS2. The one on the
I can buy
PS2
a
it's
fucking
rough.
PSP. I might emulate it. Maybe I'll do that.
Yeah. A lot of
But
people have
actually,
emulated it, so
I'm
it's
probably never gonna play another Persona game ever again. I'm probably gonna beat 4 because you said I should, so we could talk about it. But other than that, I'm probably never gonna play it again. Had enough of this anime bullshit.
yeah. Like this I don't know, the story in 3 is was just it was just better. Like I just feel like it was more concise and it felt a little more fun. Like you could change your weapon. Like you weren't stuck with one kind of weapon. And that's what I hated about 4. And 5 does it too, but 5 it's still slightly different. I think you might like 5 a little bit more because the dungeons are more elaborate. Like it's more of like a dungeon than or you're just going up like a tower pretty much. You're actually like going room to room. Uh the I do like in 5 they fixed it in Royal, which was good because it was bullshit in the vanilla game. So to get personas, it's not through shuffle time anymore. They get rid of that, and it's now done with negotiations. So like if you like exploit all of the enemy's weaknesses, they'll all be on the ground and you can hold them up. And you can either talk to that, you can talk to them, you can do an all-out attack, or just go back. But if you talk to them, you can either get money, items, or you can recruit them to.
Rob people.
Huh?
You get to rob people.
Yeah.
Fucking pull their ass and say, "Give me all your money."
Yeah, but the thing is that like if you do that, you have to pick the right answer because they'll talk to you and they'll be like, oh, like they'll be in a mood. They could be like happy, mad, whatever, and they'll just say whatever, and you have to respond. And if you respond correctly, they'll give you either more money, they'll either join you, or they'll leave, or they'll just be like, oh fuck you, you're a piece of shit, and they'll just be on alert again. So you have to like pick the right answer. In the base game, it was completely random. Like there was no like hierarchy to know. So you could be like they could be gloomy. Like the game just gives this bullshit of like, oh, they're gloomy. Be careful what you pick. And then in the base game, you just pick whatever that you think matches. It might not be the right answer, and it'll just fuck you up. In Royal, there's at least of a guide of like what answer is the best answer to go with. So it will just kind of average out. So it's a little bit more interesting with the negotiation stuff with it. And I think a lot of people have been saying that's more akin to the base game that Persona came from, which is Shin Megami Tensei. So the whole Persona shit's so weird because the first two Persona games are nowhere like this. Like 3 is the only one that started being an RPG. Like because
I don't understand.
If I might not get this right, but I think it's like a grid-based RPG. Like it was a tactical game in the first two. They're completely different games. It's like it's so weird. It's the weirdest like trajectory for a franchise to go. Like SMT in general is like okay, it's an RPG, that's whatever. And then like the Persona games just start off with the first two games are like the oddball black sheep of the franchise. 3 is like an RPG. 4 becomes like a dating sim, pretty much. Like that's when 4 was when everything started becoming like waifu bullshit and all this stuff got thrown in. And like I was like, this is like 4 was like the kiss of death for the franchise. I feel because 3.
Well, people love it though.
Yeah, because it was all this bullshit that is dumb. Like I have the art book for 4, and I read it, and they're like, well, like they initially had this idea of like having all these characters be like more interesting. And they're like, well, we decided to make all these characters cute and like. I was like, oh, okay, this is dumb. Like 3, all these characters are more like realistic and deep. These characters are all like, oh, well, they gotta be cute. They gotta be like the anime waifu bullshit. And it's like,
Here's what I don't get. What is this Shin Megami Tensei, whatever? Is it a series like Final Fantasies?
Yeah, it's.
So it's just like a bunch of bullshit that's not connected but made by the same people.
Yeah, it's like the granddaddy of the Persona. Persona is a spin-off of that. That's why like originally.
This is what I don't like. Is there a continuity of these things?
No, they're all anthology. They're all different.
So how is it a spin-off? I don't understand.
It's a spin-off in the sense of just kind of like it's using the characters and ideas. Like because all the personas are in this are enemies in SMT. Like
as opposed to what? Like if it's not like a real cohesive series, why is Persona not just some other shit? Why is it a distinct series?
Well, I think it started off as a spin-off initially because the title used to have. Well,
I don't understand.
Because it took the.
If there's no like related continuity, it's just a fucking another part of the series.
I mean, it's fucking Atlas bullshit. Because the thing is, like with Persona 5, they completely dropped the because Persona 3 and 4 had Shin Megami Tensei, Persona 2, 3, 4, 5. They dropped Shin Megami Tensei, so now it's just Persona. Persona is now its own. I think at a time when they were doing Persona, it was like because I think the first two Personas played more like SMT a little bit. With the perspective, because I think it was a first-person RPG. Like it is a weird fucking game because as I was streaming Persona 3 and all these games, everyone was telling me you're gonna fucking hate SMT3 when you play it. It's so they told me the boss fight that's in that video game dungeon in 4 that is like a generic boss fight in SMT3 in Nocturne. It's like the same kind of idea, and it's like. this is gonna be what the fucking game is gonna be like, because everything is it's because I kept hearing nothing but like Nocturne is like insanely difficult. All the boss fights are hard. It is punishing, like, and it's kind of why I feel like the fan base is like self-hating people. Everyone there's like they say this game is bullshit, but I love the game. It's like
Fucking psychoanalyzing these motherfuckers.
well, it's to the point where I think because when I started getting into Persona, I saw all these memes of people like that make fun of the fan base themselves. Like it's like, yeah, this bullshit sucks, but we love this shit. It's like, okay, like it is the weird like the Persona fan base is the weirdest fan base I ever like came across, and part of me was like so glad I used to be in the Korra fan base a lot. I used to be like into that community. I like talking to all these people, but it got to a point where all these people were being so fucking stupid about all this bullshit. It's like these are fucking characters. Who fucking cares? And it was like doing all this dramatic bullshit. I was like, I'm moving on from this. Fuck that. And after that, I just was like, I'll just like what I like. All these people can do whatever. And then I see the Persona fan base, and it is the most silly fucking fan base I've ever fucking seen. Like, Persona 5 had this whole gimmick of like changing hearts and going against these corrupted adults. There was this Twitter handle that would, every time there was like a celebrity, like during the Me Too movement, for example,
no.
there were people giving out these fucking calling cards like, we are the Phantom Thieves and you're gonna change your heart, okay? And it's like, it was so fucking cringe.
My fucking whole body is hurting from just hearing that.
And then like when Nintendo announced about like it's so goofy.
I think this is a perfect time to stop because I'm starting to get hungry anyway.
Yeah.
That really made my whole entire body hurt. Of these people just being like, we're gonna stop you with crystals, rapist, and it's like, oh no, you're not.
No, they're sending out fucking. They're just saying they gotta change their ways. They did that with Nintendo when Nintendo's like Mario's gonna go away, and after March 31st, they're like, Nintendo, this is a fucked up decision, and you're gonna change your heart with your greedy ways. And so like this.
Oh, we're gonna have Harvey Weinstein confront his persona. What's the evilness inside? The fucking
the only meme that I will say the one meme that benefits that I love about it is you know the animator Butch Hartman who did like the Fairly Odd Parents. This dude, I didn't even know this dude was so fucking self-absorbed and fucking a shithead.
Oh, he's a douche? Dude,
he's fucking insane. So there was a video of him talking about like, you think you could stop me? Me? I created your childhood. I am like he it was just him like shitting on all.
Was he fucking around?
No, because like he was talking about negative criticism about his stuff that's this one criticism was like saying like, yeah, like I think your show isn't that good, and he's like, you think you can stop me? Like he has like very like arrogant attitude towards it because he did this multiple times. He was doing a Twitch stream playing a fucking SpongeBob game. It's like, yeah, you know, these people in chat are being mean to me. They're fucking stupid. They don't know what they're talking about. Like, I am an animator.
You know what I love?
Yeah.
Is when these fucking old school like people that came through the regular gatekeeping try to go to the internet and they just don't know how to deal with the criticism.
What's kind of funny?
Before was, okay, who's paying my checks? I just have to appease them. Now you go to the internet, everyone's just calling you a fucking idiot, and they don't know what to do.
Yeah, and Butch Hartman has a YouTube channel, and I used to subscribe to it. I unsubscribed because, dude, he had he kickstarted a streaming platform called Oaxis, and the whole thing was like, this streaming service is gonna be family oriented. There's not gonna be any adult stuff, but it's gonna be for everyone, and it is the dumbest fucking streaming service. And it was later revealed that he was at this like religious like I think it was like Christian or Catholic fucking place, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna teach kids about God, and we're gonna like make God a focal point again, and it's just the weirdest fucking shit to say, and And then he starts talking about, like, back in my time, no one was depressed, no one committed suicide,
Oh,
and
really?
now, yeah, and he kind of he belittle like cyber harassment, all this like fucked up shit. And someone posted that video. He didn't really address any of it when it was brought to him. He was like, he put up like a fucking bullshit apology, like, oh, Oaxis was never meant to be this. It was just gonna be for the family. It was bullshit. But his YouTube channel is
Bush
the most,
Irvin is a douche.
yeah, and that YouTube channel is the most self like. He did a video shitting on Teen Titans Go. Like, there was a trailer for the movie that had a fart joke, and he's like, "Yeah, man, this movie looks stupid. A fart joke, really? Oh my god, Teen Titans Go is so dumb. If a studio made me do a goofy fucking show, I would never do that. I would say no." And then it's like there are multiple instances where he's like, "Yeah, the studio told me to do this, and I did it." It's like he like criticized all these shows for doing the things that he did, and it's like, oh, okay, like you're doing this just to please the viewer at this point. Like, you don't believe half the shit you say. But like there was that clip of him like saying like, you think it'd end me or whatever. So someone like kind of took that clip and put it in like Persona 5. Like, they gave him that echoey, shadowy voice, and it was that was funny. That got a laugh out of me. I was like, that was
All right,
perfect.
you have to send me all these things.
Oh yeah, I'll try to find it.
Please send me. Okay, send me the one of him being a dickhead, and send me the Persona one of him. Because
Yeah.
maybe this makes you want to play it now if there's more funny shit to find from Persona.
Yeah, I think Persona 5 is probably the
No,
better one, to be honest.
We should spend some time next week talking about fandoms, because there's just psychotic fandoms. And I
Yeah.
didn't realize these Persona weirdos. I'm gonna have to go down this rabbit hole.
To a degree, I don't necessarily know if it's that bad, because Twitter always amplifies a lot of shit.
Anyone who's a fanatic over this Persona shit has to be bizarre. I cannot wait to see these lunatics.
Yeah. There's one that was running this one thing, because there's a website in the game called the fan site, and it's like, okay, whatever. Someone tries to roleplay as that, and it was like,
okay.
It gets dramatic. I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into like a lot of the dramatic shit, because it's a lot of like bullshit that I don't even know. Because a lot of the stuff I discovered was like at the end of it, so it's like I mean, I wouldn't want to go inside that dramatic drama hole, but
thinking about this is making my skin crawl.
That's almost all fans. Metal Gear has its own fair share. I mean, I was in a lot of Metal Gear fan groups that was like fucking something.
They're all insane. All of these fan bases are insane. Okay. I think this is where we should call it.
Yeah. This is longer than last week's episode.
Oh god.
I mean, the Snyder Cut got. I mean, it's 2 minutes longer, but
last week was a Whedon cut.
Last week was the Whedon cut. So that must mean this is the better episode. This is the best episode because the other episode sucked because it's the Whedon cut. So this is the best one.
Oh, you're right. No.
We should release it in black and white. That's the next thing.
This episode is marginally better than the last one.
Yeah.
That's really
and then I'm gonna re-release this. They re-released the Snyder Cut in black and white last week.
Why?
Yeah. It's so pretentious. Like,
what does that even mean?
It's that was like the original version of the movie that Zack Snyder wanted in theaters, and it's like, and the colored one that was released was like, okay, well, I'll do this to please the studio, and they're like, okay, well, we'll release the black and white one too. It's like,
fuck. All right. Try to beat Bloodstained this week. All right.
Yeah, I'll try.
You might beat it in the next couple days, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. I have a feeling. I mean, I'll have a week. I'll have a week to do it. I'm sure I can do it.
In a couple days.
But I think I will say we'll end on this. I think either we should do Mario Sunshine or that Stealth Bastard game. I'll send you the title of the game that's on PlayStation to see if it's the same one, but it might be. But I'll send you that because so we'll go from there. So they'll either be Stealth Bastard or Mario Sunshine or something else if we decide if there's anything else. But
yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for sticking through this 2-hour video.
If anyone makes it this far.
If you made it this far, type in the comments #Persona
fan base is weirdos.
Yeah, Persona fandom. There we go. Spelled any way you want. Persona fandom. There we go.
You have
All
the
right.
analytics. Has anyone ever watched a full video of this?
You know, it's funny. Like I go to the dashboard, and our first video is doing the best. Like it's almost like 100 views,
Nice.
and it only got only got worse over time. It went from
That's
like
how-
100 to like, okay, the second episode was like 30, 40, whatever, which is good. I like, that's fine. The last week was like 30, 20 views. And
I
it's
think
like,
it was probably because how shitty the audio was, though. Which is why you should post this one with the title "Now with Not Shitty Audio."
yeah, I'll do
If
that.
the
I'll do
audio
that.
works.
Yeah, hopefully it works. There's this one time I uploaded a video and OBS was like showing me the levels. Like, oh, it's taking the computer audio, and I was like, okay, cool, it's taking it, sweet. I upload the video, and someone says I can't hear anything. It's like, what? Like, and OBS has all these weird issues. Like, it's because some of OBS's issues are stuff that is like just random. Like, because there's just stuff that just happens that you can keep the settings the same, and it'll just fuck him up later on. But this one, I think, is
shit. This didn't happen.
yeah. Well, if it doesn't, it's fine. I mean, you're talking to me. It's not a wasted conversation. At least you're talking. At least I can hear it. I'll just do a video if you didn't come through. I'll just say, well, Charles said. I'll just dub over.
We'll dub in.
Yeah, I'll dub you in. I'll dub you in with another person.
Yeah, get a voice actor.
You know, Netflix has been doing these foreign shows, and they've been doing English dubs for them, and it is so fucking jarring. Like animation, it's like okay, whatever, because it's whatever, but with live action, it is way more like
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, like you could get Brad Pitt and it will still look fucking weird. It's like because I was watching one and I wasn't thinking about it, and I was like thinking to myself, something's off. Like, what is this? And I look at
the right language.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, default to English because it's like, oh, look at this. It's like, fuck it. Like, yeah. All right. Well, hashtag Persona fandom. Bye bye.